Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and yes, we're back at Silverstone Auctions, and this is their race, retro, classic and competition sale. We're here on Wednesday, which is setup day, so I'm about to be run over by a Ferrari Scuderia with no miles on it, but the sale actually is on Friday for the competition cars and Saturday for the classic cars we're going to see all around this hall. I like this sale. There's lots of temptations, including sort of race cars that you think, oh, I might go hill climbing in it or use it for a track day, and it's got number plates on it like this Porsche we're going to have a look at in a moment. There's all sorts of things here. It's the most extraordinary collection of Lotus Alans like I've never seen before, including Ron Hickman's car, there's Cosworth's cars, there's the last Sprint ever built is over there as well, all sorts of things. So I better crack on, and I am going to kick off with this Porsche 968. Now, in Rothman's colours, this is a 1995 car, and the owner in 2005 decided, I'm going to turn this into a really good sort of fast road track day special. And he's done it really well, and I love the way it's painted, and it's got these graphics of the Rothman colours on it. Got a roll cage in there, it's got Sparco seats, it's fairly standard inside, but this is the sort of temptation you get here. We all know this car is a brilliant handling car. It's now lowered, it's got the cup wheels on it as well, and it's guided at 18 to 22,000 pounds. How much fun is there to be had in that thing at 18 to 22,000? No, if you want something completely different, how about this? 2008 McLaren Wildcat. You've probably never heard of the McLaren Wildcat. Few people have, but Al McLaren was known as, he's better known as really the inventor of engines, and he got together with Peter Wheeler and he did the straight six engine, helped TVR develop that engine. But he also wanted to produce a car of his own. Now this looks like a Griff 500, if anybody knows their TVRs, but he felt he could do one that was even better, and I think there were about 7 of these produced, and this actually has a V8 450 horsepower engine in it, quite a distinctive interior. I can't see a hood anywhere, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think it has a roof. And it's a very hairy thing. I think they quote the performance in here. Yeah, they're saying 3.5 seconds to 16, 180 miles an hour in it. I've never seen one before. It's great, it's here. Apparently it sounds absolutely fantastic. It's almost straight through pipes with 450 V8, so you can imagine what it sounds like. And it is guided at 20 to 30,000 pounds. Go find another one of them. I like this one as well. There's always lots of excitement around the Ford Sierra Cosworth and the RS 500. There's a really good RS 500 in this sale, but I've always quite liked these. This is the Ford Sierra Sapphire RS Cosworth. So the Sapphire meant it had the boot rather than the hatch, and this is a 1990 car, and these were four-wheel drive. Basically it's a proper Audi Quattro rival, and they're made much more as a road car rather than just a competition only car. They have the most fabulous seats in them, Recaro seats, beautifully upholstered seats, sunroof and things, proper quick road car, very sorted, 220 horsepower, still with a Cosworth engine in it. And this one is one owner from new, so he's the guy who's selling it has owned it, what, 32 years now, something like that, and it's guided at 35 to 40,000 pounds, about half the price of a Cosworth if it had been a Sierra Cosworth. Really go find another type of car in that sort of conditions, completely standard and looks really good in black as well. Also, there's lots of temptation on these sort of competition cars, but this one caught my eye. Look at this Sierra Cosworth Sprint hill climb car. So 1994, absolutely looks like a world rally car or something, but the giveaway it does hill climbs is that. And beautifully prepped, single seat, trick engine on it. We just had a quick look at it. What a thing to go and do some hill climbs and sprints in. Guided at 30 to 35,000 pounds, and you can open the garage and everybody think you've got a world rally car there. I can't feature all the cars here, but look at this Opal Manta 400 rally car. How good does that look? But what about an MG Midget? 1500 and unregistered and 45 miles from new. 23 to 27,000 pounds for that. There's a 10 valve Quattro here, quite an early car. What year is that? 1984. We featured a lot of Quattros in the last sale. A lovely restored 1983 Alpina B28 saloon here. Incredible condition, guided at 34 to 38,000. Really good to see how Alpina are getting a proper following. And those stripes on it look perfect against the red. They're not too standouty for me. That's a really nice one. Or what about, yeah, Lotus A2 Sprint. I just wanted to show this. This is actually a really late one, 1972. It's got a 5-speed gearbox in it. But look at that metal flake roof. That is how they came in 1972. And I remember looking at them, used to get them purple and thing, and that metal flake paint. Unbelievable that it was standard on the car. But the car I really wanted to show you is this one, an M3 CSL, but this one has been converted to manual gearbox. It also has got some other trick stuff on it. It's got a lower diff in the back, and it's one I featured on Harry's Garage, a very similar car to this. And this one is done by Dara Doyle, who's everything M3s. He's now putting manual gearboxes in the V10 M5, and this is actually his car. I didn't realise he was putting it up for sale, but this, I promise, will be a very, very sorted CSL, because he loves these cars. It's had the reinforced boot on it as well, which is always an issue with these. They crack, the diff cracks the rear of the boot, but unbelievable car. Looks fantastic in black and guided at 65 to 75,000 pounds. If you manage to buy it in that range, you've done really well, because I know they've sold for even more of that. I think it's about 67,000 miles. Don't worry about the mileage on this one. I know it'll be the most sorted CSL in the country. Oh, look at this. Skyline GTR VSpec in purple. Oh, what's not to like on this one? This is just when they were getting, 1998, it's just when Evo was started, these came out. And a VSpec one in this original colour, and it looks completely original to me. This is what, if I was thinking of putting one away, this is the spec I would go to. It's unbelievable. Now I just have to show you this Supra. Look at this. The giveaway is probably the parachute on the back and the enormous exhaust pipe on it. But this is a 1996 Toyota Supra, and it's road going, and its specialist subject is drag racing. As you can probably tell from the rear wheel, I think it's got slicks on the rear. I think there's other wheels that come with this car, but the headline figures on this car are crazy. 1,250 horsepower this car produces. It's had around £200,000 spent on it to make it the quickest Supra in the country. Have a look at the engine in this car. I mean, beautifully prepared, but have you ever seen a turbo as big as that one on this car? Look at it, just look at the size of it. It's got all heat shielding on it, but unfortunately, even with that, it's already put a little bit of a heat stain on the bonnet. Just talking to the owner, the performance of this car, as you would imagine, is crazy. It will run on normal pump fuel at slightly less horsepower, but it recognises what fuel it takes in and adjusts, the ECU adjusts to that fuel. And on its proper full-on fuel, it has done, well, a 9.5 quarter of 160 mile an hour terminal speed. But as he says, this car doesn't really launch that well because it's two-wheel drive. It's much better at doing the half mile, and that it does in 15 point something seconds and 198 point something miles an hour. An absolute wild machine. What I can't get over, if you look at the interior, it just looks sort of showroom fresh. So it's not as tatty as some of these sort of get to. Not sure, the 4GT just starting up, if you can hear that. But it is in this sale at no reserve. So whatever this car will fetch, someone is going to buy it. This actually goes on Friday because it's classed as a competition car. But what an amazing bit of kit that is. I congratulate the owner on just the sheer quality of this car right throughout it. Anyways, lots of temptations. Let's go and see what else we can find. There's quite a number of MGs in this sale. MG V8, so this is the remake one in 1999 in this very distinctive colour, which is very close to my Jaguar XJC. So yeah, 23,000 miles, guided at 20 to 23,000 pounds. And we had that MG Midget with 45 miles. Well, this one, MGB here, is 293 miles from new and unregistered, guided at 20 to 25,000 pounds. Or what I would choose is actually one of these V8 cars. Well, probably that white one we'll get to in a minute. The factory V8, a lot of people put V8s into their MGBs after, that's why the factory sort of did it in the first place. Someone else did it, so well, that's a good idea. We could do that too. So then they sold them from the factory with V8s. 22 to 26,000 pounds for that one. But my pick of them is this one. This is a factory V8, 1974. 25 to 30,000 pounds. They weren't uber quick cars, but they're just, I don't know, they're proper English classic car, and I think they get better looking as the years go by, particularly in sort of hard top, fastback body like that one. This is really quite special as well. It's quite a number of Mini Cooper S's we're going to feature in this sale, and this one is a 970S, the rarest of them all. 998 or 1043cc, but a 970cc is a very rare one. That is original S from 1965. Being rare, I hadn't looked at the guide price. 40 to 50,000 pounds for that one. Great big cars over here. Can't get over this one. So this one, yeah, Bentley Mulzan. This was owned by Bentley, and then it did royal household duties. Prince Charles at the time, now King Charles. This was quite often used by him for the various visits he has to do in his job. 33,000 miles from new, 2013, and guided at 72 to 80,000 pounds. But look how much car you get with it. Quick show you this one. Yeah. All the Rolls-Royce Corniche convertibles are always owned by interesting people. You have to be a certain size buyer to own one of these, and this one was owned by Bruce Forsyth, no less. He didn't own it from new, but he bought it, I think, in 1980 or something like that. But pretty good condition and guided at 70 to 80,000 pounds. But yeah, I must show you these other Mini Coopers over here. Couple of great Mini Cooper S's here. This one, I really like the past history of this one. It was originally delivered new to Douglas in the Isle of Man, and it did tarmac rallies over and that sort of thing. 1965 Mini Cooper S, 1275cc, and it's got some lovely period sort of clocks in the dash as well. It doesn't look over restored, etc. A proper original thing, guided at 20 to 25,000 pounds. But look at this one. Now, I haven't seen one of these before. This is an 8-port head on it. If you're wondering what I'm getting all excited about, well, it's these throttle bodies here and the exhaust coming out the back. Normally a Mini A series engine, you have the carburetors and the exhaust all sitting at the back of the engine. But they did this head conversion, Arden 4 head conversion, and it was an 8-port head, an Arden head as it's termed. And this then allowed it to be a cross-flow design, which gives much better gas flow and more power. It's also, I think it's 1430cc, so it's higher cc than they normally are. It's a road registered car, and they're saying 144 horsepower at the front wheels. That is huge in Mini speak. It's beautifully done. I think the owner was saying just in parts it was about £25,000 to do this car. Absolutely looks the part. I've never seen such wide spats on it, still on little 10-inch wheels, and guided at 25 to 30,000 pounds. Again, temptation. Evos, each shape of Evo here is a Tommy Mackinnon special as well, FJ400 as well. I'm not sure what this one is. I'm not going to feature them today because there's so many other cars to have a look at. Now, I just love the story of this car. It's well worth reading the description of this car on the Silverstone website for this sale. This is a Daimler Sovereign 4.2 litre Van den Pla, 1983. What a backstory this car has. Basically, it was a lady called Gladys who lived in Torquay, and her husband had some sort of Ford. She didn't like the Ford. She asked, can't we have a proper car? And they bought this car. And she loved it so much that she used it basically on local shopping trips, etc., but only in perfect weather conditions, and she always sat in the back, and her husband used to drive her to the shops in it. Unfortunately, the husband died after a few years, and the gardener then took over the chauffeuring rules. And this car has only covered 7,700 miles since new. Gladys died when she was aged 100 in 2011, and her son then inherited the car, and now it's up for sale. We talk about time warp cars. I've never seen one of those in that sort of conditions. As you can imagine, the passenger seat isn't even worn. Just one back seat's been worn and one person sat in the driver's seat. 7,700 miles from new, 1983. Now this is pretty special as well. Ford GT40. Now, there's always a number of these kits around, but this looks utterly beautifully done. GT development kit, 1994. The pattern, the leather in it just looks like it's out of the 60s. Look at that engine poking out the back. Road registered, wild, crazy machines. But I always think we do this annual run down to Le Mans in June. Imagine taking this down. This is the only reason you have it in the garage, and it's guided at 45 to 55,000 pounds. I've just imagined the experience of that. I think that's such good value for money, a car like that. This is quite interesting. Renault Alpine A110 Premier Division, 2018. You're wondering why it's in the sale? Well, it's delivery mileage. It's 869 miles. So if you missed out on a new Alpine in 2018, well, here's a new one, and guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds. Not sure what the story is. Ford Escorts XPac. This XPac was these wider wings, box wings, that Ford did for a very limited time for the Escort. I remember reading about them in mags in the 70s. It was 1980, this car, and it really suits the car. So rarely do you actually see ones with original box arts on it. This car is being done up as a fast road car, 2-litre engine, whisper it, I think it has the Vauxhall engine in it, and it's guided at 25 to 30,000 pounds. This Escort Mark II here, though, is worth an awful lot more money, because the person who made this famous was none other than Colin McRae, and he rallied this car in 1990. And again, I haven't got the details to hand, but he showed his world class in this car. He won a rally, beating all the four-wheel drive cars at the same time. A crazy, wonderful history with this car. Colin McRae really showed what he was made of in rallying in this car. It's been owned by the McRae family for many decades. It's now up for sale. 1976 Escort Mark II. Gut estimate is 200 to 240,000 pounds. Now this is a corner I've been itching to get to in this video, because there are 7 Elans here that has come from one guy's collection, and they are the pinnacle of Lotus Elans. And how he put this collection together, I will never know, but some very special, very famous cars amongst this little lot. I'm going to go through them. So yeah, Derek, the owner of these cars, he's better known. He had Piper Cross air filters. He loves Elans. He's had an Elan forever and wanted to put the ultimate collection together. That's how he did it. And just looking around them, I can't believe the car he's got. I will kick off with this one. This is 1969 Lotus Elan S4 fixed head coupe. This was a gift from Colin Chapman to his F1 driver Jochen Richt, because he was doing just the most amazing things with a below par Lotus that wasn't really competitive, but he was still winning races. Colin was so pleased, he gifted him this car. Because he lived in Switzerland, you'll notice it doesn't have the normal spinners, has these nuts on it. And Yeah, Jochen was very pleased with it. It's quite a sad backstory because unfortunately he was then killed in the Italian Grand Prix, so didn't get to enjoy this Elan for very long, but in Elan circles it's a very well known car. As is this one. Now this is Keith Duckworth's car. So this is a 1968 S4 Coupe. I didn't realise they did an S4 Coupe that early on. It turns out it was the prototype for the S4, which he thought he was going to buy an S3 and was surprised it was an S4. You tell an S4 because it's got arches on it here. He's had this, they're fully restored, these cars. I should have mentioned that the Jochen Rick car is guided at 80 to 120,000 pounds. These are absolute pin better than new restored cars from a private collection. You will not find finer ones, hence the guide price on them. This one is slightly less because of not Jochen Rick, it's Keith Duckworth's car, and it's been in the family for a number of years. Really quite rare to see coupe versions as well of Elans because a lot were converted to convertibles in period. It was very easy to do. You basically get a saw here and you can get the bits and put a soft top on them. The market likes them better, but no, these are proper original coupes. This one is guided at 50 to 80,000 pounds. Rob Walker car. Rob Walker, obviously famous for his Grand Prix exploits, and he had Stirling Moss as his driver in the team, and Stirling Moss won his colour of his car in the racing period was this blue, and he sprayed one of the Elans. He had a Lotus dealership in this colour, hence why you'll never see another Elan in this colour. Only the Rob Walker car is in this colour, fully restored. 50 to 80,000 pounds for that car. Now, probably, I don't know which is the most famous car here, but this one is extremely famous. 1966, Elan S3 drop-head coupe, Emma Peel from the Avengers. This is the car that appeared on our screens. If you're watching the Avengers in the 60s and 70s, this was the car that was featured, and it's been in a number of collections. He's selling the cars. He found it in the States and brought it back from the States. Again, had it fully restored. It's very unusual, this car. It has a leather interior that you wouldn't normally guess. And you can't see it from there, but if I open the glove box, there is Diana Reeves from the Avengers. There's her contact with the head office in the glove box. Utterly perfect car. Lots of people will probably be wanting that car, and it's guided at 80 to 120,000 pounds. Spectacular, especially in this colour, and just love that it's got some individual sort of extra bits on it for the film. If I was going to buy one, I think it would be this one. 1966 Elan S3 ex Peter Sellers. There's a very famous shot of Peter Sellers who had a tonneau cover on it, just poking his head out of it. And he used to go through cars like there was no tomorrow. But this one, he owned it during the time he was married to Brick Eklund, and he apparently absolutely adored it and kept it for a number of years. 1969, I think they sold it, but I just love the S3. If you're into Elans, everybody thinks the Elan Sprint is the best of the lot. You know, connoisseurs, the S3 special equipment, SE on the side here, I think is the pinnacle of Elan. The most refined, it has the longer diff. You can soon add the extra horsepower should you want to. I love that it's got these original mirrors on it that nobody fits now because you used to worry that it might vibrate, and they put little door mirrors on. No one likes drilling holes in their Elan. This had them from new, and it's just terrific to see this car here and in this condition. Again, because of the Peter Sellers connection, you won't be surprised it's very expensive, guided at 80 to 120,000 pounds. Another famous car, Ron Hickman. Ron Hickman, backstory with Lotus, he got involved with Colin Chapman when they were turning from the Elite to the Elan, original Elan, and he was the designer of the folded sort of chassis, backbone chassis that Lotus then used in the Elan Plus 2, and also into the Esprit. and this was his Elan, and it joined the collection relatively recently, utterly fully restored as well, and guided at 70 to 90,000 pounds. Final car in the collection is, well, they're all special, but this is very special. This is believed to be the one of the last registered cars of all Elans. 1975 this car was registered, hardtop coupe as well. I just asked the restorer, because I noticed it has red cam covers on this car. I've never seen red on there, and it's the son of the original owner is actually the guy who restored these cars, and that is how it was delivered, with a red cam cover. Never seen it before, but this is the very last Elan Sprint, 1975, and very possibly the very best fixed head Elan in existence, and guided at 50 to 80,000 pounds. There you go. If you want an Elan, you'll just never find better than these 7 cars here. Okay. 3 really interesting cars down here. Kicking off with this one, Ford Sierra Cosworth RS 500. Mentioned that over there when we were looking at that Sapphire. This is absolute pinnacle. If you want an RS 500, 5,000 miles from new, and looks utterly perfect, as you'd imagine, and guided at 150 to 180,000 pounds. Or what about the Ford GT? These have been climbing over the last few years. This one is absolutely super. It's 10,000 miles from new, and it's had a few enhancements. They always gave a lot of horsepower. Apparently, if you put one of these on the dyno, it always did much better than the declared horsepower. But this one has had the bigger pulley on it and a slightly different exhaust on it, and it's at 600 horsepower. So at 10,000 miles, this is guided at 225 to 275,000 pounds. But this is very special. I've always liked the Ferrari Scuderia. I think it's a pinnacle of normally aspirated Ferrari. Yes, it had the automated manual gearbox. By the time they got to the Scuderia, though, it was super sharp. And the Alcantara interior and the the alloy sort of mats on it. But this one is delivery mileage, 112 miles from new. It's been in a collection. I think it was Hong Kong where it was originally delivered, and it's come into the UK. It is unregistered in the UK, so you need to be aware if you did buy this there would be VAT and duty to pay on it, but it is guided at 150 to 180,000 pounds. It sounds a lot, but for a brand new delivery mileage unregistered Scuderia, I can see that making it 2009. That's 14 years that car's been sitting somewhere ready for this moment. Now, there's quite a few special BMWs I've spotted in this little corner here. Just kick off with this one. So 2012 Alpina B3 GT3, one of 4 right-hand drive cars. The interior has a typical Alpina stripe on it, and what this car is about 402 horsepower, but it is particularly special for its suspension. Basically, it's adjustable coil-over springs at the back, rose joints, etc. And it's the handling of this car that they've really enhanced. Very rare, as I say, just 4 right-hand drive editions and 25,000 miles, guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds. But I really want to show you this car. Now, everybody chases M3 Sport Evolution 2.5, etc., and they are climbing in value like there's no tomorrow, well in over £100,000 now. This M3, 1989, was being restored and enhanced by a mechanic who works on WRC cars as a live-in and also works at ProDrive, and he wanted to build the ultimate M3. And my goodness, when you look at the spec and you look at the detail on this car, this is a very special M3. Here, the engine's all been rebuilt. It's a road car, and it produces 265 horsepower from its 2.3 litres. It must rev like there's no tomorrow. It's also got the bigger brakes on it. It's got a wonderful carbon intake system on it, and I think it is spectacular. Absolutely perfect. It's got lighter weight wheels on it as well. All the enhancements, absolutely perfect. It was a labour of love, is how he describes it. and it is guided at 65 to 75,000 pounds, which is a lot of money, yes, but I bet that's the best driving M3 you'll ever drive. Now, I haven't seen this car in 20 years because this has Evo past history on it, because we had it as a long-termer. I can remember ringing up BMW, Graham Biggs at the time, and saying, please could we have one and keep it a bit longer than just sort of a week's test. And we got one. I think we had it nearly a year. We did 25,000 miles in it, and here it is. 65,000 miles now. I've always liked the Z3n Coupe. You just can't believe BMW actually produced it in the first place. You sit in it, it's quite snug, and I like the way you've got all those dials in the centre console, etc. Very characterful car, as you might say. It's not a car to take on track days and things, but with that M3 straight six engine, it's really crisp, quite a lively car, quite quick, and guided at 45 to 55,000 pounds. There was a time when they were a lot less than that, but they're really gaining in value because it's such a quirky BMW. Oh God, what a lovely Integrale this is. Lancia Integrale Evo 2, and yes, offered directly from Rowan Atkinson CBE. So a really nice colour combination as well, with the beige leather, with the Recaro proper wing seats you've got with the Evo 2. As you can imagine from Rowan Atkinson, it's in very good condition and guided 65 to 75,000 pounds. I think it will make that all day long. There is actually another Integrale in this sale, but it's not here at the moment. It was built up, it's a Evo 1, so it doesn't have the winged Recaro seats in it, and it's guided about 45, 55,000 pounds. I think it's a Cat D that's been rebuilt. When it's like my Testarossa, when they weren't worth a lot of money, it was very easy, they got written off very quickly. But it's not here, so I can't show you it, unfortunately. I can show you this short wheelbase 2 litre 911. Utterly original. This has been restored, just restored. It was bought from Silverstone auction in 2015 as a restoration project. Here it is, all finished, all done in its original colour. I like the short wheelbase. They have a distinctive character and a really buzzy 2 litre flat 6 engine in these early days of 911. They're expensive things though, 120 to 140,000 pounds. Mainly because a lot of them are being used for competition now. There's a 2 litre Cup, etc. But that was a pure, unadulterated 1968 2 litre. I can't feature every car here, but this one is got a rebuilt engine on it. Obviously, I think it's in a competition sale, yes, so this will go through on Friday. 3.8 RSR recreation, and this is guided at 70 to 80,000 pounds. But as a track day toy, my goodness, that's pretty special. Oh my lord, I could go on. 3 litre CSL. Now this car's also been restored in the UK, and it had the full Batmobile kit put on it. Super tidy, and actually I think these are on the climb at 120 to 150,000 pounds. Gentleman's racer, etc. I've never seen one quite as smart as this. Absolutely distinctive. Anyway, it's not what I wanted to show you. I want to show you this over here. Now, there's a number of cars just turned up, and this is another collection in this sale. It's the Twin Sparks collection that I just thought were really nicely put together. They wanted to have the ultimate versions of particularly sort of usable sort of cars. There's this MGC here, GT. I like this. It's got the straight 6 engine in it rather than the regular 4-cylinder you normally get in an MGB. That's why it's MGC. But this one really caught my eye. This Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint GT 1965. This is a step nose, as they're termed. You see this unusual shape here. It's been debumpered. It absolutely looks the part to me. This is what, if you're going to buy one of these Alfa Romeo Giulias, this is how you want it to look at. And the early cars like this one had the delicate little door handles on it. Just a beautiful design feature you'd only get on an Italian car. This one, 1600cc, this one, and about 100 horsepower thereabouts. But it is very sensibly guided to me at 25 to 30,000 pounds. I'm sure your money is absolutely safe in that sort of car, at that sort of value. Now, I've left this car till last because it is so special. Look at it. This is a 1976 Fiat 131 Abarth Rally Stradale. Stradale, they made 400 of these for homologation reasons, and it's just the coolest car in the whole building as far as I'm concerned. Never thought I'd actually see one. This is a road-going car, but made for competition. So it has a tweaked twin cam engine in it, so 140 horsepower in this Stradale version, obviously tunable to way more were you going to enter it into rally. But what I love about this, it is utterly original. The owner bought it in Italy at 11,000 kilometres. I'm not exactly sure how many it's got now. Well, 12,181 apparently. And it is just perfect. The perfect colour, the perfect start. It's Bertone design. I don't know if this was Gandini's work, who did Countach, etc. I don't know, but he was at House of Bertone in the 70s, so who knows. But what a fabulous thing to see, and guided at 120 to 150,000 pounds for a Fiat 131. Well, I think it will make that all day long, and if I had the money I would just adore to have it. So there you go. If you wanted more details, obviously check out the Silverstone website. All the lots in this sale are all on there. The sale is on the Friday for the competition cars, and then Saturday for all the road cars in here. I'm sorry I haven't featured them all. There's a GT2 Club Sport over there I would like to have featured. There's a Testarossa there as well. All those details are all on the website. You also have to register the bid before the sale. You can do that on the website, and you can watch the sale live on YouTube as well. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.